Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. In this video we will learn how we can interface a servo motor and push buttons. So each push button rotates the servo by 90 degrees as you can see in this demonstration. So let's start building this project. Now there are two types of connections on the push button with the Arduino Uno. First one is for the input pull-up mode and other is for the input mode. And I will discuss the difference between both of them after a while. And you see this push button has two lines over it at the back side. This line and this line. Okay, it means that this terminal is connected to this terminal and similarly this terminal is connected to this terminal, but these two are isolated from each other, and when you press the button these two gets connected to each other. So place the push button on the breadboard like this, and for the input pull-up mode we need only two jumper wires to be connected to the push button from each of the legs on the same side, which are isolated from each other. Okay, and when you press the button these two wires will get connected to each other. Similarly, place the second push button on the breadboard and connect two jumper wires to the two legs of this push button. So this is for the input pull-up mode, and we will connect any of these two wires from each of the push button to the digital pins. Like for this push button, I will connect the orange wire to the pin number 6. And similarly, for this push button, I will connect the yellow wire to the pin number 7. And the remaining wires will be connected to the ground. So this is the ground pin, and similarly this brown wire will also be connected to the ground of the Arduino. Now let us discuss the connections for input mode. Now for the input mode we need one resistor called pull down resistor, and we will connect this resistor to any of the leg of the push button like this. Okay, and we need three jumper wires in this case. One will be connected to the remaining leg of the resistor, second one will be connected to this side or this terminal of the push button, and third jumper wire will be connected to this terminal of the push button, okay, which is adjacent to the resistor. Okay, and please note that the third resistor, sorry, the push button should not be connected to the diagonal opposite end of the this resistor. Okay, it will be wrong. So connect all the three jumper wires to the remaining three terminals. Now the jumper wire which is connected to the resistor will be connected to the ground, and this yellow wire will be connected to 5-volt pin, and this pin will be connected to the digital pin. So connect all the three wires accordingly. And black wire I am connected to pin number 7. You can connect to any of the pin of the Arduino. Okay. So in case of input mode, when the button is pressed, the pull down resistor keeps the pin in high state. High state means 5-volt pin. Okay. So it means the pin is connected to the 5-volt pin, and the button is not pressed. The pull down resistor keeps the pin in low state, which means 0-volt. Right. So in case of input mode, we use pull down resistor. And in case of input pull up, the Arduino's internal pull up resistor is enabled by default. Right. And when the button is pressed, the pull up resistor keeps the pin in low state, and the button is not pressed, the pull up resistor keeps the pin in high state. So that is the difference between input and input pull up. So if you are following me till now in this video, hit the subscribe button and like this video. So I will connect the servo and the LEDs to this breadboard, and I am using LEDs just for the visual demonstration of the project. So green LED will be on when button 1 is pressed, and blue LED will be on when button 2 is pressed. So I'm connecting the cathode of both the LEDs on the negative rail of the breadboard. And in this project, I am going to use the input pull-up mode, which is easier than the input mode. So I'm connecting only two jumper wires to the push buttons. Now take two jumper wires from each of the LEDs, which will be connected further to the digital pins. Now connect the servo motor to the Arduino. So this yellow wire is the signal wire, this middle wire is the VCC, and this brown wire is the ground. So this is a complete circuit connections among all the components using the input pull-up mode. Now let us move on to the program of this project. So this is the program for the project. We are defining two buttons connected to 4 and 5 pins and two LEDs green and blue. And the initial positions of the servo in angles is defined to be 0. Okay. And the last button state of both the buttons are defined initially to be high, because we need to compare the last button state with the current button state. And in the setup function, both the buttons are defined with the input pull-up mode. You can also use the input mode, okay, but in that case you will require an external resistor, and both the LEDs are output in this case. Now coming into the loop function, in this function we are reading the digital state of both the buttons, and the servo will start rotating only when the first press would be from button 1. So when the button 1 is pressed, this is the condition which will be true. Okay, and button 1 is rotating the servo from two angles, from 0 to 90 degree and from 180 degree to 90 degree. So if the position is 0, the position will be set to 90 degree. Otherwise, if the position is 180 degree, the position will be set to 90. Okay, and we are writing the angle 90 degree to the servo motor in this line. And the green LED will be high and blue LED will be low in this case. And otherwise, if button 1 is not pressed, the both the LEDs, that means green and blue LEDs, will be off in this case. So this part of the code will be executed only when button 2 is pressed, and this is the condition that is true when button 2 will be pressed. And this button 2 is rotating the servo to two angles, from 90 degree to 180 degree and from 90 degree to 0 degree. And you might think why we are creating this variable direction to 180 degree. Basically, this variable is a direction flag variable which remembers the direction in which we rotated the servo last time, and its initial value is 2. So the first press of the button 2 send the servo from 90 degree to 180 degree. Okay, and in else condition we are setting the servo to 0 degree. And when the next time the button 2 is pressed, this variable will be flipped. That means it will become false. Okay, and we are writing this position to the servo angle. And in this case, the blue LED will be high, that means on, and green LED will be off. And after this condition, we are writing low signal on both the LEDs, green and blue. And we are updating the last button state of both the buttons to the current button state for the next loop iteration. So if you learned something new from this project, subscribe to my channel and share this video. And if you have any doubt regarding this project, let me know in the comment section. I will answer your queries. We will meet with a new project in another video. Till then, goodbye.